Why, hello there, YouTube, and welcome to a random review. I'm Random Ross, and today I review Back to the Future. Yeah, this is a classic, but very recently I went to a 40th anniversary screening of the film, and I watched it in, the big screen for the first time, even though its 40th anniversary was back in July. They were showing it. I thought, yeah, why not revisit a classic? So this is written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Lea Thompson, and Crispin Glover. So Marty McFly, 17-year-old high school student, is accidentally sent back 13 years into the past with a time-traveling Delorian invented by his close friend Doc Emmett Brown, and during doing so he ends up interacting with his parents and accidentally causes a whole blunder where he stops them from meeting the way they should have, and then has to get his parents together while or he'll cease to exist. Also has to get a younger Doc to help him, with the DeLorean to get him to go back in time, but with no plutonium to power it. The only other option is lightning, and he knows when a lightning storm is going to hit, so Marty and the Doc prepare for it within a week. And of course, Marty then, goes back to the future. So that's like the plot there. You should know this one by now. So what did I like about this one? Well, I've watched this film when I was a kid. My dad taped it for me when I was a kid on the Sci-Fi channel. I've rewatched it again and again over the years. Whether it be its 20th anniversary in 2005, its 30th anniversary 10 years ago, and now the film's 40 years old, and I've rewatched it, like I say, on the big screen. I've always seen it on the small screen, but I watched it on the big screen, for the first time. So yeah, I like that it's still, it's an 80s classic. I like the soundtrack from the 80s music to the 50s. I like the 80s setting to the 50s. This is kind of set in two eras, this 80s and the 50s, and I liked that. I like that, we had Lea Thompson and Crispin Glover play his parents in both timelines. An older version of them where they're kind of, George is kind of still knocked around by Biff, played by, what's his name? God, I can't remember the actor who plays Biff now in Back to the Future. Yeah, so hang on a minute. Yeah, there we go. Thomas F. Wilson, who played Biff. We also have Claudia Wells in it as Marty's girlfriend, Jennifer Parker. And yeah, we basically see his dad as a guy who's knocked around by Biff, who's bullied him since he was a kid. But in going back in time, he has to then set his parents up and actually helps George gain the confidence he needs to woo his mother and go to that dance where they first kiss to ensure his existence. And of course, in doing so, he does make a few alterations to his future, such as his parents are better off, his siblings are better off, and the Doc isn't dead, because we see him get shot earlier on in the film, and Marty knows that but doesn't want the Doc to know, but feels the Doc should know, but the Doc came prepared. Because, as we know, the future is not yet set or written. So for big historical events that are yet to happen, they're kind of fixed. But yeah, it's all wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. But yeah, I like the time machine premise, the DeLorean, and the story. The visual effects, kind of look good for their time, and I think still hold up. I mean, the only special visual effects was the whole DeLorean time travel thing. But you know, I thought it's still good. It's an enjoyable film. It's about just under 2 hours, and those hours, the time flies by like that. And you know, we get some comedic stuff from, you know, Christopher Lloyd as Doc Emmett Brown, and he doesn't change much within 30 years. No. But yeah, I just think Christopher Lloyd's witty, eccentric, and funny, fun to watch. And, you know, like I say, I think this has stood the test of time. I think in another 10 years, when it's 50, I might even revisit it again on the big screen. And stuff. I mean, this ended up being a trilogy. And you know what? I'm glad that it is just a trilogy with no other sequels or reboots. It's a fine trilogy and a fine franchise that knew when to end. I'm talking about the first Back to the Future here. But yeah, Back to the Future. What am I going to rate this one? You know what? I still love it now. Still a great film. I'm a 90s kid, but I saw it then. I'll give this 5 out of 5. So there you go. There is my review for Back to the Future. Have you seen this one? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Share with your friends and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and to hit that notification bell. I've been Random Ross and this has been a random review on Back to the Future. So, until next time, I bid you all a goodbye friends, goodbye.